Hey guys, this is PushDustIn. If you haven't, please go ahead and watch the first part. That's State of Nintendo Part 1. In that part we talk about the Switch. This is the second part, where we talk about the 3DS, Nintendo's mobile applications, amiibo, theme park, movies, as well as give our overall grades for Nintendo. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start this.
Alright. Well, we've talked a lot, in fact, about the Switch, about 50 minutes worth of the Switch. But it's not the only system Nintendo has this year. Because there was also the 3DS, of course, which is still hanging in there. It's supporting its new family member, and is, lasting, and it looks like it's going to last at least for next year, at least for the first half. We got Sushi Striker coming in, and there's still a bunch of third-party 3DS games that have been announced. And I think this matches up. When I did my little analysis on Source Gaming for looking at all the games that released after the next system launch, and I mean DS lasted for like a good 2 years after the 3DS launched. It was mostly filled with Pokemon, but it went on that far, and I could see the 3DS is looking like it's going to do the same thing.
To be fair,
I don't know if we'll get another Pokemon game, but
well, to be fair, it's a good idea to have that system still around because it's a cheap way to get into Nintendo games.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And it can serve as a kind of backup if the Switch did flop massively, but it hasn't, so...
No. But also, still, at a price tag of the original 2DS for $79 with a game, and equivalent across Europe the same way, I still think that having that system around can be critically important to like the future of Nintendo, because it still means they're making money off an older system.
Yeah, no, definitely. I actually know someone who literally got a 3DS 2 months ago for his birthday, finally. Because it's that cheap.
Yeah, also, it has a huge install base.
Of course, yeah.
So there's already so many people.
And there are plenty of people who have not bought more than 3 games for their system. There are a good number of people there who have. So, convincing them to buy a few additional games is still a very viable thing, even in 2017.
Right, yeah. I think going into this year, with the Switch launching in March, a lot of people were thinking, Nintendo should drop 3DS support, and I know there's been a lot of angry Nintendo fans over stuff like Metroid, Samus Returns not being on Switch, or Mario Party Top 100 not being on Switch, although that one shouldn't have been on 3DS.
Be completely honest, those people kind of need to shut up, because they had an amazing year for Switch this year. And
they did.
So what? That a good number of games coming on 3DS. That is an established system. Those games had time to develop. Of course they're still on 3DS. And I would argue that this year's 3DS lineup is better than last year's too.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. Like, what have you guys thought about this year's 3DS? Because, like I was saying, a lot of people were thinking it would disappear with the Switch, but it hasn't. It's actually been going quite strong.
Yeah. And I think that the titles they released were very good. It started with a better than expected port of Puchin Yoshi. But it moved on constantly with a new title almost every month or month and a half. Highlights for me were like the Fire Emblem Echoes was really damn good.
Oh yeah, that was great. And that came out really of nowhere as well.
Yeah, really insanely good. Of course, Metroid was great. I thought that Hey Pikmin was way better than I was initially expecting.
I need to finish that. Yeah. Ever Oasis
was also really fun. And Metroid, of course.
Mario Sports Superstar? That's
Mario Sports Superstar is the only one that we kind of should forget. But like even the smaller stuff, like New Star Boutique 3, I think it's the best version of that series. There's a good to have another Pokemon game out there. I think that the 3DS has been, despite having a new system out there, has been surviving pretty well.
No, I agree. Like, I was using my 3DS for quite a bit still, even after I got the Switch. I mean, I only had Zelda to play at the beginning, and so I was jumping between that, and I was playing Mario Sports Superstar for a bit, and I was trying out other games that were coming out at the time. And yeah, Samus Returns I was like super excited to get. And Ever Oasis I haven't got yet, but it's on my Christmas list. It's one of the top priorities I had after Fire Emblem Warriors, which I haven't had the chance to pick up either.
And there's still things that I've forgotten, like Mario and Luigi and what have you. So there were constantly...
Oh yeah, Mario and Luigi, yeah.
Yeah, there was still constantly a good amount of games on 3DS this year, which, again, I was really surprised about. At the same time, it makes total sense, considering it was already an established system. So, once again, those games had time to develop and time to be really good. So, it's... At the end of the day, I'm happy with what I played this year on 3DS. I don't think it will be as strong next year. I think it will kind of fizzle out a little bit. But for like a big final push for the 3DS this year, I think they did a really dang well job of that.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with that statement. There was a ton of great 3DS games this year, and a lot of big franchises as well. The first, well, actually no, it's not the first, because the Metroid's second game, if you want to ignore the other one, came out this year and made tons of people happy, and we got another Pokemon and new IPs, the Pikmin spin-off, and yeah, I think a lot of them were really good and did really well, and I think it's a good sign. I also think that going into next year, Nintendo, has moved all of their focus off of 3DS onto Switch. So I think it's going to be supported mainly by third parties next year and smaller.
And it doesn't mean that there are no 3DS games coming from Nintendo themselves. I just think that their output would be smaller than in comparison to this year.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Nintendo internal studios must probably be all on the Switch by now, because I can usually, from what I've looked going into the past, they tend to jump ship straight to the new system and let all their quote-unquote second-party devs, like Camelot and Alpha Dream, deal with supporting the last system because they haven't had the chance yet to catch up. And I think that's still going to be the thing going next year. I mean, Nintendo's Sushi Strikers is technically done by Indie Zero.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be seeing more stuff like from those kind of developers, the slightly smaller ones. Yeah. I mean, even Metroid was done by a bit in Nintendo, a bit Mercury Steam?
Mercury Steam, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
But it's still fine. I mean, it's still fine. It's still fine that those people are working on 3DS games. It's just you have something out there. Even though I also think that they should focus a bit more on evergreen titles that are still selling, because I feel that I've kind of forgotten that this year a little bit, especially with they only brought out one new trio of Nintendo Selects in each region. They didn't really do anything beyond that to support evergreen titles, which I think is a bit underwhelming, especially considering there's still a lot of market value on those. But that's also something they could do well into 2018, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. Like, keep the system alive by using the back catalogue.
Yeah.
Push, do you have any thoughts on the 3DS this year?
Basically, I haven't turned on my 3DS since the Switch launch.
So
you're a bad person, and
you're very ready to move on then and not look back.
Yeah, Metro Prime did entice me. The other games didn't really appeal to me, so I've just been playing my Switch.
Fair enough. What if they release Wario Land on 3DS next year, though?
Then yes, I would play.
Oh, speaking of Wario, where is WarioWare? I mean, I feel like that should be on the Switch. It should have been on 3DS as well.
That's such a...
They should have made WarioWare DIY too.
Yeah, I'd have been totally for that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
They could do that with the online system.
Yeah.
No, with the Switch it doesn't seem as convenient as with a 3DS. I feel that ship has sort of sailed now.
Yeah, I think using the touchscreen would have been perfect for it, because you could like draw your own backgrounds and stuff, and you could do that on the Switch's touchscreen, but it's...
Well, you need a stylus pen, and I don't think a stylus pen is as accurate as a stylus.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh well. But yeah. Alright, well, yeah, so 3DS had a good year, and it's going to continue a bit next year. Let's, I guess, take a step away from games, unless you want to talk about their mobile phone ventures. Actually, we probably should, shouldn't we? Because Fire Emblem Heroes came out this year, and it's been very successful for them.
Well, it's not been successful in the terms of sales, only in terms of whales, which the amount of whales that game has is very inspiring. I would say that continue to push out new characters because apparently people will just continue to spend orbs. But overall, it's still a pretty fine mobile game. I think their finest mobile offering they offered so far.
Oh yeah, it's definitely there's more to it than Mario Run, and definitely more to it than Miitomo.
I think there's more to Mario Run now thanks to Remix 10. I think Remix 10 is a really fun mode.
Yeah.
But prior to...
I think it's a perfect mode for mobile.
Yeah, but prior to the launch of Remix 10, I would have agreed with you. Now it's my second favorite Nintendo mobile game.
Well, okay. Remix 10 didn't manage to hold my attention for too long. I think I was like, I played it to try and get Daisy, and when I realised how long that was going to take, I eventually stopped. I think
for me, it's just tapping away
at
10 levels and putting it back in my pocket. That's the beauty of Remix 10, I feel.
See, I think I have that same kind of feeling with Fire Emblem. Like, I did stop for a while over summer, and then I started to get back into it when they did that Brave thing, because I wanted to get my free Len. And since then, it's been kind of a thing where, I'm just going to train these guys, because they upped the stamina to 99, and I realised I had something like... Yeah, number of units went up to 300. I had something like 200 stamina potions. And it ended up just becoming a thing of, I'll just train these guys do one map. Because maps aren't that long when you understand everything that you're doing. And that obviously works really well for mobile. And they've added a ton of characters, and they added more ways to get orbs. Like, I still haven't actually spent any money on this game. And
I have, and I feel bad.
I contemplated it, and then I saw how much it cost for the orbs, and I decided I didn't want to do it.
The funny part is, every time I spend orbs for some reason, I always get the characters within a few tries. I've seen people getting so mad about not getting certain characters because they spend like 100 orbs on a certain character, and I then buy like 10 orbs, flip panels twice, and then get the character I like. Because yesterday I had Soleil, which is one of the Fates children.
Yeah, it's my favorite Fire Emblem character is Soleil.
Yeah, so I posted it on Twitter, and people got mad that I got it in 2 tries.
I got her in 3, and I didn't spend any money on any orbs. I was just like, flip this one red, there was no more reds, backed out, did it again, and then I got her. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so I spend a little bit of money if I desperately want a character, but most of the time it works out for me, so... Yeah. I'm okay with that. As long as I'm keeping engaged with like another 5 hours with that game, I'm good.
I'm not opposed to spending money on mobile games, because like a lot of people are like, oh, you should spend money on mobile games, but like if you play them more than like an actual retail game, then it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I put like 80 hours. I put like 80 hours into Fire Emblem Heroes so far. So for me, it makes total sense to put some money in there.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been thinking about, of why I was looking into doing it, because I feel like I may have... as much as I loved Echoes, if I probably looked at my playtime of Echoes in this game, I probably spent more time here. And
yeah,
so
but Echoes is a story that ends, and that makes sense for what it is.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And
whereas
Heroes never feels like it has an ending. That's the difference.
Well, they just started the second season, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they can just keep doing that and keep it forever, and there's still a ton of Fire Emblem characters to add. And people getting excited for each one.
Talking about mobile games, I already completely stopped with Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
I haven't even been able to start it because my phone doesn't even run it, which was a massive pain.
I haven't tried it.
I've been exploring the first 2 days what that game has on offer, and it's basically like a miniature version of Animal Crossing, and in that way it sounds interesting, like picking up fruit and doing little tasks for animals. But then it comes the shitty part of having to put various furniture into your camp to ensure that certain animals come to your camp. And then also spending a whole bunch of resources to make that happen. And it just becomes an entire slug of a grind that I don't have any fun with. And next to that, there's also like very little fun writing in there, like the actual regular Animal Crossing games. So I burn out on it pretty hard.
See, because I haven't
I
had
heard
the
the loop
chance
wasn't that
to
good.
play it properly. Don't have much of an experience with it, but my girlfriend has been playing it, and she's not that much of a gamer, and so far she's enjoying it. So I have a feeling it might not be something that you put lots and lots of time into, but I think for what Nintendo want it to be, as a kind of game that brings people more into the Nintendo.
But it's
sort
just
of IP,
Nico
I think it would
Atsume with
work.
an Animal Crossing skin.
But I think especially if they do plan on releasing a Switch version at some point next year, I think just Animal Crossing just being there and being able to advertise on the phone, I think it's working. Because when I told her that I think the Nintendo might be making an Animal Crossing for Switch, she got quite excited about it. So I feel like this is exactly what Nintendo wanted with their mobile strategy. And,
Well, if they wanted to make a slug of a game that doesn't inspire me to play another Animal Crossing game, then yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I don't think this is what I want out of an Animal Crossing game, even if it's on mobile.
Okay. Fair. Well, is it better than what the initial plan sounded like? So obviously they cancelled that because it was apparently boring.
I still think that this is pretty boring, so I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Animal Crossing just can't work on mobile unless they offer a full game.
Yeah, because there's actual tasks to do, and I don't like doing tasks in Animal Crossing. I just like to relax and do stuff while I go along. And there's always a necessity here that I don't necessarily think I like.
Well, Nintendo they haven't announced any more mobile games, have they? I mean, originally they said there was 5 coming, not including Mario Run, and we've had 3.
Yeah, they said 2 to 3 mobile games per year, so we're already at 2. So
yeah, but we haven't before. Obviously, they announced Miitomo came out, and then they announced Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing relatively quickly afterwards. And I know there have been reports and rumours of Zelda being one of the next ones that they come out with. And I'm just wondering when it is we might see it. It probably won't be this year. Maybe the next investors meeting?
yeah, that
Whenever
seems
that's
very
gonna
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that probably seems very likely.
But it seems it's going well. Fire Emblem obviously did well, and Animal Crossing is doing okay. And Mario Run, I think, did below what they were expecting it to do.
Sure.
But they're learning. This is early mobile days for them. And
it has been about a year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've released 3 games in total. Well, no, 4 games in total now, because Animal Crossing. And Miitomo, which I just forget about every few weeks.
Hey, I think that Miitomo is better than Animal Crossing. I'm flat out, I'll say that. Miitomo is super dumb. Yeah, Miitomo is super dumb, and it's sort of incredible when you now go back and you see some terrible things happening on your telephone screen, especially in text. But you know what?
Yeah.
I at least smile at that. I don't smile at Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Miitomo was like a glorified meme camera app for me, I think.
One of the best things about Miitomo is if you have the language set to Japanese, and type in English text, it will say the English text with a Japanese accent.
That's funny.
That's the best thing ever out of Miitomo.
I think there are funny parts about Miitomo at the very least.
Yeah, I think it was quite a funny game. It was an interesting game for Nintendo to start with, but I think it did make quite a good impression. It just fizzled out a bit too much.
Well, isn't Miitomo and the other mobile apps, isn't that the only way to get people from your Twitter feed onto your Switch account?
No, you can do it through Fire Emblem as well. That's how I got a lot of people.
Yeah, through Fire Emblem. But
you can also just do it through the Switch.
Yeah.
I thought you couldn't connect the 3DS to your Twitter directly to your Switch account.
You can.
Your friend account.
I think you can.
Oh,
I mean, I'm pretty sure mine is.
Yeah, pretty much sure mine is too.
Facebook as well.
Oh, I know
I think you just missed an option.
I've been posting to it, but finding friends.
I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure it gave me the option
Daan.
to, and I added a friend through that.
Okay.
You're just gonna have to look around. But yeah, so that was Nintendo's mobile. So that's all their software stuff. So let's move on to Amiibo. So Amiibo have been interesting development up and down, because obviously it
They're
started
the
off strong,
only
fizzled out,
survivors,
coming
baby.
back, coming down.
They're the only survivors, baby. They are the true survivors of the Toys to Life category.
I know, right? Lego Dimensions is gone, Disney Infinity is gone, Skylanders could potentially be on the way out. I don't think it's confirmed.
Skylanders is gone, they just didn't confirm it. Like, Skylanders has been gone since January. They just don't want to give up, but behind the scenes and the messages that they've been sending, it's pretty much out of the door, because A, there hasn't been a new Skylanders game this year. B, they closed down the card game that was available on mobile. And the Switch game didn't even come with a portal.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you just put it in through the NFC reader writer on your Joy-Con, which was really weird.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's convenient, but oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's pretty nifty.
So and you could save them digitally. So what I did is I went to a friend's video game store with a bunch of Skylanders on there and just scanned them in, and they were completely they were forever in my game.
Nice.
That's cheating, Daan.
He allowed it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But what I'm saying in this specific sense, Skylanders is dead. It is.
Yeah.
Like, people don't want to admit it, but all of the other Toys to Life games are dead.
Yeah. And well, Amiibo never had a game to begin with. So
well, but people will just buy Amiibo for the figurines, so that's fine.
Yeah,
and
I think that's the difference. Well, isn't Ubisoft coming out with that?
The Starlink,
model, yeah. So we'll see how that does. But I think that one's quite clever, to be honest.
Or my friend likes to call it No Man's Skylanders.
I think that one's clever because I think it appeals to people who like making model ships.
Yeah,
planes and stuff. That's a huge market.
I think that's really cool. At the same time, I think Amiibo is in a very interesting position because people mostly buy it for the figurines themselves. So if you look at the Champion Amiibo, I still saw plenty of people picking them up, but not to use them in the game, but to put them on their shelf because they really like the champions. The same goes for my Odysseys. Plenty of people I know bought them, but they still just wanted to have them on their shelves, not to use them in the game.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested in the Mario ones. I haven't got them yet, but I want to get the wedding ones, and I've beaten Mario Odyssey, so it's not for that for sure. Although my relationship with Amiibo this year has kind of been up and down, I think. Like, I certainly have bought less Amiibo this year than I had done any other year going past. I think I got Bayonetta and Corrin because I said I'd get all the Fire Emblem ones because I'm silly.
I bought all the Amiibo this year because simply I like those figurines. I think they look really cool.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me, did you actively use them in games? Well, a couple of times, but not much.
Yeah, well, I got QB because I like the idea of him, and I was in Japan where he was only available. And then when you try using QB on the game, it comes up saying you can't use this because the content has already been unlocked. It's like, oh, okay, thanks. And every other game he comes up as a question, like the third-party ones do, like a lovely Amiibo, Mario Odyssey. So I've definitely been buying some just for the sake of having them on my shelf. But I think what annoyed me a bit with Amiibo is that there are some games that I think have used them really poorly this year. The main one for me that really annoyed me was Metroid. Because I don't mind Amiibo having certain content locked behind it. What bothers me is that originally when they announced this, it was, you have one Amiibo of this character and you can use them in all your games. And so I have a Samus Amiibo. Yet I have to buy another version of Samus in order to get the content because they separated it. And hey, Pikmin's like this. I have Smash versions of Rosalina, but I can't use them in Hey Pikmin because I have to have the Mario version of Rosalina if I want that to work. Yeah. And that sort of stuff really bothers me because I don't want to be buying the same character again and again.
You don't want like some
because
I
want to make room for different characters. Yeah, I don't want every single Link like you've got. And I feel like Nintendo realised that, oh wait, people have all these Amiibo, they're not buying... We either don't have any characters to make anymore, or they're not going to buy new Amiibo because everyone already has them.
Yeah.
So they're now they're now making people buy another Mario amiibo, Moore's Link amiibos, another Samus, and going we have the other Kirby series. Splatoon has different coloured variations that are all different amiibos in Hey Pikmin. And I don't know. I think the way that they've started using amiibo has really begun to actually bother me. And I feel like it's going to get worse.
I wasn't too bothered by it. I understand where you're coming from. At the end of the day, it was like for me from whatever, man. It's like I already have these amiibo. It doesn't really bother me either way.
Yeah, I think that's because I mean, if it's for a figure that I actually want to get, then yeah, sure, because I'm gonna have the figure anyway. But I don't want to spend the money on another Samus amiibo, and that means I'm missing out on the content. And while I would be okay with this if it was like the Metroid Fusion stuff, as much as I'd much rather that be a part of the game, I could just buy a Metroid amiibo and it's something new, and then I get that stuff. But the hard mode that's locked behind the other Samus amiibo, I feel like should come with the Smash one, and I feel like we should have had that with the different variations of Link. Kind of, I understand. Because at least they're different other versions of Link, but all the Marios and stuff, no. And I can only see it getting worse.
Yeah, I think it'll actually disappear before it gets worse. I think it's on its way out.
No.
I still think there will be amiibo in a limited capacity. I just don't think there will be as much as it used to be, which is fine. You still want like figurines for certain characters, and this is the only way that Nintendo will do it. So, sure, I will take that.
I think that we're going to be seeing the series go out. I don't think there's going to be like there was with the Mario series, the Link series, the Kirby series, and the Smash series. Although, if Smash for Switch, whenever that comes out, I'm sure they'll come out with more amiibo for the newcomers for that. What I don't want to do is release all 58 characters again with different poses.
I have fantastic news. They're going to release all 58 characters again with new poses.
Please no. That's what I don't want to happen.
That's going to happen, I'm sure.
It will. Welcome to 2018 Nintendo, where they release a bunch of amiibo again.
I'll announce all 58 again. And different colours for them this time. Player 2 variations now.
I mean, you already did it with Core and Bayonetta and Cloud, so why the heck not?
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point we'll get female Robin and Alf, maybe. But,
and
male
Wii Fit trainer.
Yeah, male Wii Fit trainer, yeah. Female villager. I think, the series I think are going out. I think they're going to start focusing them all around specific games, like they did with the Wedding Mario amiibo.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's going to be how they start marketing them now, whichever. So when Metroid Prime 4 comes out, I could see them releasing it alongside another Samus and like a Silex amiibo.
Maybe a Ridley.
And having that. It's too big. You have to buy them in like 5 separate parts. And then just stick them together.
So what you're saying is that he is too big?
Yes. He can't fit in the box. It's
if you try to load
like
his portrait in Smash Wii U's character CSS, it's too big.
Yeah, I know. I love that. It doesn't fit in the box. It's great. All the other bosses do. But Nintendo aren't the only ones doing third parties. We also have other third parties, other amiibo. We also have Shovel Knight amiibo coming out, new ones. And, Capcom recently said that they thought about doing Resident Evil amiibo. And with the confirmation that Legacy Collection on Switch will have amiibo support, some people are thinking maybe they'll do Mega Man
Proto Man amiibo.
Double gold.
Yeah, I could see Mega Man, Proto Man, and Base amiibo all coming out next year. That's something I see. I mean, there's already Mega Man and Golden Mega Man amiibo.
I have the Golden Mega Man.
Yeah, didn't that come out only in America? Like Legacy, with the Legacy Collection, in fact, on 3DS.
Yeah, and it came in a box that had nothing on it. It was just a grey carton. So basically, back then it had the future of Mega Man written on it.
I'm surprised they haven't released more gold variants of characters like Link.
Yeah.
Don't do
I
that.
don't know.
Don't do that.
don't
Don't
know.
do that. No, don't do that. No.
I
Stop,
think
no.
that I think they did it with Mario because it's Mario, and originally the gold ones were meant to be, you know, that sort of really special one.
Yeah.
And I think Capcom just saw how hyped people were for the Mario one, and were like, we can do that as well. So did Mega Man.
And just
but
as Nintendo
that's
from,
it.
hey, you have the Smash Brothers mold, can you make this golden for us?
Yeah. Like I think that's probably why I can't imagine any others getting a gold one. At least with Mario, there is already a gold Mario who is a power-up.
Yeah.
It kind of
New
makes
Super
sense.
Mario Bros. 2, the most hyped new Super Mario Bros. Game of all time.
He was hyped enough that he got him into Mario Golf, and it got him into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and he got an amiibo.
Mario Odyssey.
Look at the success of Gold Mario. Yeah, and he's a Mario Odyssey, you're right.
Hey,
He's everywhere.
Pink Gold Peach.
Pink Gold Peach amiibo with Mario Kart 9.
Come on, Nintendo, make it happen.
But yeah, that's what that's how I feel like for amiibo. What about you, Push?
Like I said, I feel like amiibo are kind of on the way out.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing less and less of them. Maybe we'll see like very important amiibo come back, like important characters come back, but I don't see a lot of really smaller characters making amiibo appearances.
No more chibi robos
Unfortunately.
and QBs. Yeah, I think that's right. So, with all of the amiibo stuff out of the way, let's move on to more actual things like, you know, the theme park and the new movie sort of deal that's been talked about with Illuminations. Let's do that one first. 'cause I'm
Illumination
interested to
Entertainment,
talk
huh?
about it. Yeah, the guys who make Minions are doing the Mario movie.
Oh boy.
I think it's a good sign that, you know, Nintendo, they've been talking about it for ages, doing movies and TV series, and, like, I think this is a good thing that they're branching into this. Whether Illuminations can do it well or not,
Well,
We'll
if they
see.
get creative guidance from Nintendo, I think that's very well possible, but it really depends. I'm not sure.
yeah. Well, I think I don't think it's impossible to do a Mario movie. I think it's been getting a lot of traction recently because it was covered by Nostalgia Critic. But there's the Japanese Mario Brothers animated movie.
Yeah.
That's basically just a road trip with Mario and Luigi going to rescue Peach, and I think it captures everything in Super Mario perfectly into an hour-long film. So if they could just basically do that and like make that into a movie, maybe a few more scenes with Peach and Bowser to make them slightly more, you know, give them more screen time, make them a bit more relevant. Throw Yoshi in there because of how popular he is, and I think that they could have a very good, you know, a nice little family film for Mario on there. It would be much better than the 1991 for sure, and it would actually be like the game. I think it would be quite successful. But yeah, I think it's a good sign. There have also been rumours of a potential Netflix series coming out with one Nintendo property.
Zelda?
Don't know what it is. There's also, Zelda I think is the common one that a lot of people have been thinking about. There's also, there was the kind of mini Splatoon Koro anime.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really.
I
I struggled to call that anime. Yeah. It was a moving. It was a moving graphic novel.
Yeah.
And that's it. But there have been rumours of a Fire Emblem anime as well coming out.
That would make a lot of sense.
I think so. I mean, Tokyo Mirage Session already looks like a Fire Emblem anime from the cutscenes.
It's more Persona than Fire Emblem, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think the 3D cutscenes they use for the music videos are in the Fire Emblem style, like the 3D CG sort of look. And I reckon they could make an anime that kind of uses that style, and it would fit with the games quite well. It'd just be how they go about it. Do they do a proper serious? Do they follow the game story? Do they do a slightly more slice of life where, you know, all the guys in the camp and you have an episode about each character? Or do they do like basically Fire Emblem Heroes, the anime, because then they can.
To be fair, there is already an Fire Emblem anime, and that was really bad. So
there was. That was back in the day where there was also a Legend of Zelda cartoon.
Yeah.
And,
but
Captain N.
yeah, I think it's possible to do a interesting Fire Emblem anime. It's just I think it needs to follow the story of a game a little bit.
See, I think if they did Heroes, I think that's the best approach, because I feel like if they announce an anime of Fire Emblem Awakening, you're going to get a lot of people who get salty that they're not going to be seeing Ike or Roy, and the same thing kind of happens regardless of which game they choose, whereas at least with something like Heroes, you have the possibility of getting every character.
Does it really matter what it's based on? I think they just need to make a decision on what they want to do, not us.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I just feel like the perception. I feel like Fire Emblem Heroes might be the safest option to go.
I think that's the most boring.
On...
That's the most boring thing to do an anime on, because you're just going to throw anybody in there and not have the potential to do something else in the future.
It's a issue with world building.
Yeah, that's true. Although, like, I could see with the Heroes anime, they can highlight, they can do all the key scenes from like every game that everyone remembers.
No, I think that you should focus on one game, and if it's successful, do another. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
If they could do it with the new Switch game that's coming out, like to promote it alongside that.
That Switch game is coming. It's coming sooner than you think. I will tell you that much.
I'm expecting it for March or April. That's always been on my radar for that.
Well, most people think it comes out like really late 2018. It's coming.
No, I don't think that. Or my predictions, although this has nothing to do with Nintendo's state at the moment, is Yoshi early, and then Fire Emblem, and then Kirby, in that order.
Kirby is coming first.
You think? Okay, all right.
Yeah, but Kirby already has a name. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, that's true. Yoshi just felt like a January, February title to me.
Yoshi doesn't even have a name.
That's okay,
it's just called Yoshi.
Fine, I'll swap them. Kirby, Fire Emblem, Yoshi. I feel like they'll all come out before next E3 at the very least.
I'm not sure about Fire Emblem yet. It seems that way. It seems that it sounds like an early spring summer game. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but we'll see.
Okay. I mean, Echoes came out in May, and Fates in Japan came out in June, and Awakening came out in March. So that's sort of
your time
period. Yeah. Spring has always kind of been Fire Emblem's time.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll probably get a Fire Emblem. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Fire Emblem Direct in January that showed it off.
We're already getting a big Direct in January, so I wouldn't be too worried about that specifically.
I don't know. We got a Switch event and a Fire Emblem Direct like a week later.
Yeah, I remember.
I think they will talk about it in that specific directive. I don't know when it's happening in January. I have no idea about that. I know that it's coming. But when exactly, I'm not too sure. Originally, they planned it for December, but now because of the Splatoon 2, Zelda DLC, and what else coming out, because they have a bunch of DLC coming for a bunch of games in
They
December.
just want to focus on that.
They want to focus on that, so it's likely now going to be early January, from what I've been told.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be first or second weekend. No, they don't do weekends, do they?
No.
Well, that sort of the first 2 weeks of January.
In Japan.
Yeah. Originally, it was pretty close to Christmas planned in December. But now they figured we're going to just move games upwards, so they moved Mario Party on 3DS in Europe upwards to that specific week. America didn't want to budge, so Kirby is still coming out in January next year.
Okay.
Japan has nothing in January, so outside of like the games that they are publishing from other parties, so like Mario Plus Rabbids. But it seems that before those two games coming out, like mid-January, there might be a direct. So early January is the prediction right now.
What about so we talked about Nintendo TV programs and movies potentially. What about there are updates on their theme park stuff? Universal has given a few more things about it. It looks like it's going to be very Mario and Donkey Kong orientated.
Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed by that. At the same time, I did kind of expect it.
Yeah, same. I mean, we might get references to Link and Kirby in like the shops and all that, but I expected most of the rides to be around Mario and friends.
It kind of makes sense to have it as one theme too, because if it was like all Nintendo, then it would kind of clash.
Yeah, I don't think Universal has that much land that they can make their own full-on Nintendo land yet.
Huh.
It depends on the success of this, but yeah, they've just been talking about it a bit more, and it's going well, and we're seeing more of it. There's kind of like there was that new preview trailer teaser where Mario's running around and everyone for Universal Japan. That looks nice, but I don't expect to see it till 2020 at the earliest. Didn't they say something like that?
Right before
I thought they said they want to have it. Yeah, they said they wanted to have it up before the Olympics, so maybe
2019.
Maybe 2019, but it seems like still that they need to do a lot of work to get that done.
Yeah, like there's a video that was posted on Reddit a couple days ago where someone took video from Universal Studios Japan, like from the top of the building, and showed that they're still digging holes and setting up the area.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Well, I trust the Japanese to meet the deadline.
Yeah.
More so than I would trust the American side of things to do it.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I saw what happened when that giant hole hit last year, and they fixed it in like a day.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, but how have Nintendo been handling their promotion and stuff this year? Do you think? Like, do you think their promotion with all of their products, the Switch and just themselves as a brand?
I mentioned this in the podcast that we recorded about 2 weeks ago, and I think they've been doing a really great job with that. We've seen a lot more promotions, a lot more collaborations with various companies, and there just seems to be a lot more merchandise this year.
I barely see any of that here, so I don't know.
I should come to Japan.
I feel that they've done promotion for specific games, but only like the really big ones, and the other ones they kind of left them be. For example, I've never seen an ARMS commercial here. I've never seen a 1-2-Switch commercial here. I've mostly seen Mario Kart, Zelda, and that sort of stuff, like moving around a bit.
Okay. I actually have seen ARMS here, which will surprise me, because I'm from the UK, which is notoriously not Nintendo's market. But I have actually seen Switch advertisements and ARMS and even Xenoblade Chronicles recently, which was rather surprising because of all of Nintendo's big games. That wasn't the one I was expecting to see. So I think that they've begun to booster up their presence here. I don't know if it's to do with their public relations trying really hard to, get the Switch to be successful in this market. But I think that they're on the rise with it.
Yeah, but the UK has never been Nintendo of Europe's strong suit.
No.
It never has been.
That's why it's a surprise to see.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that they want to push it as much as possible and put it in the face of as many people as they possibly can. That being said, like, the big three still remain: Spain, France, and Germany.
Yeah, I've seen it everywhere when I was in France. Like, I think
France is pretty much Nintendo territory. Like, there is nothing that escapes you there. But it's interesting to see how they handle that stuff in the UK now, because it seems like they're trying to make a bigger push and make sense in my eyes. At the same time, I also wonder how much effort they want to put into make the UK market a thing, because the last time it was a thing, I think it was during the Wii period.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 3D, they had a bit of push for the 3DS. I remember one of the first times I got to try it out was at Reading Festival, of all things. They had like a whole booth and were doing contests, and
so
they were trying early 3DS, early Wii U, and I think it flopped massively. At least definitely for Wii U, if not for 3DS a little bit. And then Nintendo just kind of vanished for a while over here. But yeah, I think they're on they've been doing much better this year with the advertising. Like, the Switch has actually got out and been somewhere, and I think that can be owed partly to promotion. So
for me, it's here they just focus on the big things, which once again makes sense. They don't want to put all of their eggs in one basket. It's in sort of the same position as the UK, where the Netherlands is considered a B market. But I've seen more advertisements than I've seen in 2016, so I guess that's already a plus, I suppose.
Right. So
Yeah.
before we get to our overall grades, I guess for Nintendo in this year, are there any other aspects of them from 2017 that we haven't discussed yet that you wanted to bring up and highlight?
I don't think so.
I think we've covered. I think we've covered pretty much everything, or at least tried a summary of everything.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, then, what do you guys give for your overall grade for Nintendo? How well have they managed 2017? Daan, do you want to go first?
Is it out of 10 or?
Yeah, let's do it out of 10. Let's out of
Okay.
10. How well has 2017 gone for Nintendo, and how well have they themselves, managed this year?
I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think that the early goings beginning January and the lead up to Switch launch was a bit murky. I think they could have done a better job, like immediately telling from the eShop will be available, you can expect this on launch day, and that sort of stuff. I feel that side of it was a bit lacking. Next to that was the whole charade about the online stuff and how badly they handled the app, because initially you couldn't also not even put it in the background.
Yeah.
I think those two aspects in particular are the two things I really disliked about this year. Outside of that, how they handled both Switch and 3DS and the smaller things surrounding it, it seemed to make a whole lot of sense. So overall, I was pretty pleased about all of the games this year, especially on both platforms. I think I have barely any complaints. Once again, it are just those two things that really annoyed me to bits, but for the rest, they did a pretty good job overall.
Okay. Alright, and Push, what about
Yeah,
you?
actually, I agree with Daan. Originally, I was going to give it a 9, but I think Daan actually kind of convinced me to lower it to an 8. One of the reasons was because they didn't really have a good job coordinating the messages, especially at the beginning of the Switch. Like you saw, I think it was Nintendo of Poland that posted like early screenshots of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which like confirmed that there wouldn't be additional tracks, or like that the Mii's would still be supported or something like that. There's a lot of like you would find out information from this Nintendo subsidiary, but from this other one they wouldn't say anything, like they wouldn't comment. So
Yeah.
that was kind of awkward and weird, because it just, we had to keep on looking around to see what information we could find out, especially in the early days of the Switch. It's not as bad as it is. It's not bad. It's not that bad right now. And then, like Daan said, the original January presentation wasn't as good as it could have been, but the Switch has had a fantastic year. I'm playing a lot of it. I play it almost every single day, and I love it. I can bring it with me wherever I go, and I think they have a very strong 2018 planned ahead.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it slightly lower than the both of you, sitting on a 7, because you're right, the first quarter of the year, first half possibly even, Nintendo kind of messed a lot of things up. I think the Switch launch went pretty decently, and all their software this year has been fantastic. Yeah. But you're right, there was a lot of confusion over certain aspects of it. They completely botched up announcing the online. The January presentation started off well and kind of trailed off. There was tons of silence after that as well, which seemed really bizarre. Because we feel like, with the amount of time they had between the presentation and the Switch's launch, you feel like they should have been bombarding us with stuff to get us hyped, and they just kind of fell silent until like a week before. Their online app was terrible. My Nintendo continued to be
Voice
terrible.
chat on Switch is still not possible.
Voice chat on the Switch is pretty naff, and I don't like what they've been doing with amiibo this year either. But they advances in other territories. I think the fight, some proper steps towards TV and movie is definitely a good thing. Their promotions with third parties and seeing how well those are doing on the Switch, and potentially even more stuff after Mario and Rabbids and Link in Skyrim, that seeing more of that I think is a great thing. And I'm just glad that the Switch is doing really well. Like, they've been actually pushing it and advertising it after its release. And it's looking to not be another Wii U, but more of a Wii. And that's what I want to see. I want it to do well so it can get all those games and it can be, you know, one of my main handhelds, not handhelds, main systems. Because bringing it on the go is also a big appeal, and being able to play big... I'm more likely to buy it on the Switch, a third-party game, because I can take it on the go. So, I think Nintendo have really done well for a system launch. I just think other aspects of it, like amiibo and communication with fans, have been a bit crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a little lower. I'm gonna give it a 7. But that's definitely more than I would have given their 2016
They saw some issues with YouTube as well.
score, so yeah, that's true. that just doesn't change though. But okay, all right. I want to thank you for coming on, Daan.
No worries.
Yeah. And do you want to let people know where they can find you? Where's the best place?
You can find me on Twitter, which is at NintenDaan. That's NantenDaan. There are links to my YouTube and everything that I do there. You can find me at Go Nintendo, Nintendo World Report, Game Explain, NF Magazine, and a bunch of stuff more. I'm pretty much everywhere that you find Nintendo somehow. And yeah, give me a follow. We can talk a bit about what you want to know, and we carry on.
Alright, and I want to thank everyone for listening into this. I know it's been quite the long discussion.
Yeah.
But let us know down below what you think of Nintendo this year. Give us a grade between 1 to 10. What are your highlights? What are your dislikes? What are you looking forward to in 2018? I'm looking really forward to hearing back, and if you could like this video and share it with friends, that would be really appreciated. Spread the word. And yeah, always remember to return to the source, and have a great day.
See ya.